basically, and they used them too. And Nick Bagage came out and showed some of this stuff and talked about it as well. So we are really in the past, and that's how you can at the top. That's how you can control the future. You plan the future. You bring it in, and you feed the public predictive programming a little bit and a little bit at the time. You must also do social changes and dehumanize the people. And dehumanization is a big, big part of this agenda, because Julian Huxley, who was the CEO of UNESCO, the first one of UNESCO, he did say that in his books, that they'd have to knock man off his pedestal as being supreme on the planet, bring him down to the level of animals. Now, once you start to think of yourself as an animal, and again, you get all these nature programs, all the green programs telling you, well, you're just another animal amongst animals, and you have no more rights than any other animals. And then you have to go into the further dehumanization of the destruction of the old cultures where families normally had children. That was the whole point of them. And now, of course, we don't even have so much that. So we've seen abortion rackets going on. We're now seeing body parts sold across the world. We are a going business. All of us, we're a going business for someone.
And they're teaching us, with the gladiatorial events and all of it, to dehumanize ourselves and to see beauty as ugly and ugliness as beauty, and to just wallow, because a human would be shocked by the disgrace and the indignity of humans being spliced with animals, and would be concerned for these poor creatures. But because they're part human, they have no right. When you torture a monkey, people will burn down your business. But with the transhumanist environmentalist, there is a giggling sacrament in trampling humanity, because they really fear the power of humanity. So it's important for them, the predator class, to trample it and to hike their leg on it, and to turn it into a servile, gibbering religion where the slaves revel in their own destruction.
That's pretty well it, actually. Dehumanization. With dehumanization comes depersonalization. When you lose your identity of who you are in flux. When you're in flux, of course, the massive propaganda machine comes in, takes you over, and then you flow along with the new think, as it's called. You always new think. And so we've been programmed like this for such a long time now. Now, recently, too, we've seen the big push for euthanasia. That was the next nail in the coffin. And people, and they keep the pulse on the public now with the internet. They know what we're thinking, what we're chatting about, what we're worried about. And so they can tell when we're ready for the next step of it. Now, I've got books going back from scientific journals going back 20, 30 years when they were talking, and I've got one here, actually. It's the future of mankind and the planet. And top names in it, of course. And it shows you them breeding the public for different functions, just like Plato talked about in the Republic, only a bit more advanced. And they said we can create men who eventually will be divers. They'll have gills like fish, and they can go down and they can weld the legs on the big platforms at sea for oil, and do that kind of stuff. In other words, they're going to make purpose-made humans or semi-humans for the particular job they're designed to do. And that's what it's all about, is designer humans for specific tasks. Rather, you see, we are supposedly, according to high sociology today, we are the useless eaters now. We're post-industrial. They don't need us. We're almost post-war once the Middle East is standardized into the world system.
And then they have the predictive programming with movies like X-Men that show you everybody mutating, and then how they're the poor groups whose rights aren't taken care of. And now they're going to come out with more and more of these clones, these replicants, and then the government's going to give them rights and protect them, and then basically use them against the rest of us. Those that won't buy into all the new technological augmentation that are really backdoor systems for them to hack the brain, because there is no firewall, as the Pentagon has said. They'll be sequestered like Amish, but then our children raided and taken. I mean, it is a charnel house of trampling and being trampled upon, as O'Brien tells Winston, that is being entered here. And just notice how they're now calmly saying, yes, we're splicing humans with animals. I mean, they're just telling you, but it's secret and you're not allowed to see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's no doubt about it. And most folk, really, I kid you not, most folk today who haven't had an original thought in their heads, they like the mainstream media, they won't have a thought on this. They'll not be hot nor cold. They'll just say, oh, well, that's science for you. That's progress, by the way. That's what science always tells you, is progress. And they'll go along with it, never thinking about the implications of where it's all to go. But make no doubt about it, this system is not about a new world order. There's lots of stages of coming new world orders in societies and systems already on the books. And we're just seeing the step for the next step of purpose-made humans for specific functions, and you don't need the silly humans anymore with their limited capabilities.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have a sex slave who looks like Marilyn Monroe and even has her DNA, but she'll be 1% squid, so she has no rights.
Attention gardeners, this is an urgent GCN self-reliance update. GCN has just discovered a new bioactive superfood for garden plants, flowers, and herbs. It's called ProtoGrow, and it's so effective at producing rapid plant growth that it seems to almost force plants to grow like crazy under practically any soil and light conditions. Now, here's the best part for our listeners who garden for self-reliance. ProtoGrow's unique blend of C nutrients maximizes mineral uptake and dramatically increases bloom set, creating maximum plant growth in minimum time. ProtoGrow works by providing geometric keys, which have the capacity to actually unlock the genetic code for nutritional uptake in plants. ProtoGrow's full spectrum plant fertility means fruits and vegetables with extraordinary taste and up to 10 times the nutritional value. And if you want to double or triple the potency of herbs or wheatgrass, you can. If you want to grow nutritionalized superfoods with non-hybrids, it's now easy. GCN listeners who want to grow dirt cheap superfoods should visit the ProtoGrow website at growlikecrazy.com. That's www.growlikecrazy.com, or call 877-327-0365. That's 877-327-0365.
Hello, this is Steve Shank. What does freedom mean to you? eFoods Direct is celebrating freedom with the Freedom Food Giveaway. Each week in July, they are giving away a 1-year food supply. Just go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex and register to win a 1-year food supply with a 25-year shelf life. At efoodsdirect.com/Alex, look for the new Patriot Pack, a $149 12-day supply of food, plus accessories that is free with a purchase of $235 or more. Call 800-409-5633 or on the web efoodsdirect.com/Alex and register to win a free 1-year supply of food. Then listen to Alex Jones to announce the weekly winners. Also, the first 50 to register each day win a $50 subscription to the Voice of Reason e-newsletter. Go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex or call 800-409-5633.
Hi, I'm Mark Craighead, founder of Crossbreed Holsters. I designed our top-selling holster, the Super Tuck Deluxe, to solve the problems of being poked, pinched, and gouged while carrying concealed. The Super Tuck Deluxe is the most comfortable, most concealable holster on the market today. We offer a 2-week free trial and a lifetime warranty.
Visit us at crossbreedholsters.com. Don't forget, crossbreedholsters.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
What would you do with a check for $25,000? What if you could eliminate all of your credit card debt in 90 days and keep all of your money? Hi, I'm Jason Davenport, and I've just completed ZeroDebt100.com, a program that stops and prevents debt collections of all kinds, including debt collectors and foreclosures, with guaranteed results. Forget loan modification. Zero Debt showed me how to get the banks to pay my property taxes and insurance while stopping my foreclosure without paying one dime. An attorney tried to garnish my wages, but the court denied his request because of what I filed from the Zero Debt program. Find out how I did this by calling Zero Debt today at 800-477-9256. Tell them Jason sent you and ask for the Zero Debt special and the free bonus promotion about stopping an IRS levy and getting your money back. Tell them Jason sent you and call 800-477-9256. 800-477-9256. That's 800-477-9256, or visit www.zerodebt100.com.
Your calls are coming up. We're going to get into Alan Watt's view on the situation in Oslo, Norway, now being used to call for crackdowns on the internet, free speech, the Second Amendment, and gun ownership. It is really, really obvious what's going on here. And this guy, now we learn, Norway Nazi was on drugs. Maniac took substances to make him strong. We're going to get more into that. Alan Watt, it is so fundamental. It is such a huge issue to sit here and talk about how we're living in an antique reality. That's a great way of putting it. That there is a breakaway civilization, that the establishment has written white books, white papers on all of this for decades, that the cloning is much more advanced. I mean, they admit, oh, yeah, we kept it secret from you in England. We're splicing humans with everything. They don't worry. They don't have rights because they're part spider, they're part. I mean, this is so incredible that they, for at least 20 years, have been growing humans in cows that are part cows so that the cow doesn't reject them to then harvest their organs. I mean, again, that was in BBC 15 years ago, and they said that had been going on for 5 years secretly. Now, this is what they admit they're doing. From your research, Alan, how advanced is it? Because the word I've gotten from a physician and others that have treated heads of state is that they're already staging their deaths. And that it's not just Ken Lay that went to Paraguay, right before he was about to be sentenced, or after he'd been sentenced, but turned himself in, that this is going on. But, I mean, undoubtedly, there's a lot of secret technology. From your research, how much more advanced is it, or do we have no idea?
I think from the clues of the past, that's where you go on, and they're probably at least 200 years ahead of where we are. When you look into the writings even of Mary Shelley, for instance, Shelley was, her husband, the poet, was a member of the high societies. At that time, they clouded themselves under secret societies and masonry and so on. But in reality, at the very top of that, there was pure science there. And they were given access to the sciences of the time. And she didn't come up with her idea of a Frankenstein, a human being put together by body parts by herself. It was because she was in with the groups that were actually discussing this, and maybe some who were actually trying to do it at the time. And really, they're so far ahead that it boggles the mind. As I say, in the 50s, before we even had the transistor radio, they had the CIA, as Nick Biggs showed on television. He showed the equipment which could beam a thought into your head, or a sound or music into the middle, the center of your head, on line of sight. So it could go for miles. If you were high enough on a hill, you could literally pick your target and do it then. It was more than voice to skull. And but it also, these things also had the capability of interfering with basically the wave that comes, the pulse for your heart. It originates in the brain, and you can interfere with that pathway and give a person a heart attack. Now, this stuff you could put, these little gadgets you could put in your pocket in the 1950s. It had to be incredibly amazing solid-state circuitry with micro transistors, etc.
Oh, let me stop you. You talk about it too. Aldous Huxley, Julian Huxley's brother, who wrote about genetic engineering and GMO food and different classes of humans in Brave New World, published in, 33, he gave a speech when he knew he was dying and said, this is all real, and even though I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to stop us, and was laughing at everyone. They thought he was being a good guy, warning them. And he said, at our universities, we have people with microelectronics already in their brain, and we're already testing this to be able to remote control humans. And then by the 70s, they admitted they had microchip remote control cockroaches in university reports. They're just now telling the public now. So here he was saying, actually, my book isn't fiction. This is what we've been doing secretly. Decades ago, we had microelectronics in people's brains.
Oh, yeah. And you had Delgado, I should say, famous for his bull, where he put a microchip in his brain and remotely controlled it. He could stop a charge from the bull. But he was also, and there's videos up there on YouTube where he's talking about it wasn't just animals he was practicing on humans. Of course he was. And so this is very old stuff, because the idea when they began this socialist movement, that most folk think is left wing, it's really at the top of the right wing who run the socialist movement, and that's why banks are all behind it and so on. But they knew they wanted to bring in a society of well-behaved people who would simply be a slave society, cause no problems, no